YouTube. I just wanted to say that I am going to both use a pen name and my regular name, depending on the genre I'm writing. So, fantasy and anything regarding a Dungeons and Dragons adventure module, which is going to be fantasy, that's all going to be under Tiffany Clark, and my pen name fee is going to be for sci-fi. Branding, bullcrap, easier to sell whenever I get to that point. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is ways to block writer's block. Because we all know what that is like. And I hate it. And I'm sure you do too. Without too much preamble, I would like to get straight into it. My first tip is to skip around. You don't have to write in chronological order. When you're not feeling motivated to write the next scene, just skip to one you are motivated to write. When you're feeling more inspired, you can get to the more in-between stuff and connect each scene. But when you're feeling like the whole thing is mucky and you just can't trudge through it, go to a different scene. You can always edit later to make the scenes flow better together, because editing is inevitable. But, yeah, skip around. It's not necessary for you to write in order. My next way to block writer's block is word sprints. I know I've mentioned them before, but really I believe in them. I believe in them so hard. Sometimes I can't even write unless I'm doing a competitive word sprint. Like, it just blocked. Can't do it. I open the document. It's not at a stopping point, so I'm starting a new page or a new scene or anything. It's always in the middle of the scene. So I'm sitting there at my keyboard and I'm like, I can't do this. So when I do competitive word sprints, I either find someone online. There are writers groups on Facebook. If you have a lot of Twitter followers, unlike me, you can always go to Twitter and say, hey guys, I'm up for a word sprint. Who's with me? You can call up one of your writer friends if you have any. Basically, there's 1,000,001 ways to get somebody to do a competitive word sprint for you. And I've noticed that during a 30-minute word sprint, I get anywhere between 600 to 1,000 words in, just in that 30 minutes. So within an hour, I have 2,000 words. I mean, that's pretty great, right? Now with the word sprints, you're going to want to ignore formatting. You're going to want to choose a good starting point where you think you can flow right. You're going to want to not bother with using perfect words, and you can always make it look prettier later. This is just to get your ideas from this onto this. And then it'll be easier to rewrite the scene in a better format when you're already got the stuff written down. Because sometimes just the connection between your brain and the paper or your brain and the keyboard just doesn't work. For my next way, I have flow writing. I don't know if that's a technical term or not. It's what I call it. Basically, what you do is you take a pen and paper, because I find that it's easier with a pen and paper than with keyboard, because I tend to try to backspace with a keyboard. And a pen, not a pencil, because you don't want to erase. You don't want the pen to lift off of the paper for more than a millisecond. You just write. all of your thoughts, all of your feelings. You just write. And eventually, it goes from, I don't know what to write, oh my gosh, what do I write? I had this for breakfast today, and I had that for dinner, and blah, 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 blah. It goes from that to working out what the problem is between you and writing, why there's a disconnect, and how you can fix it. Because, I mean, obviously you're thinking about it because you're trying to get past writer's block, so eventually it'll work itself out. Now we get to my favorite. The dicing game. So, for this you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need, in fact, a set of dice. And I don't mean just a set of 6-sided dice. I mean a full set of gaming dice, where there's a 20-sided die, a 10-sided die, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, a 4-sided die, and if you can find one, a 3-sided die. But a 6-sided die can always go for anything that you need 3 of. Anyway, so you're going to need this dice set. Then, you're going to need a little bit of a document. Could be on paper, it could be on Google Docs, which is what I use. Could be anywhere, as long as it's written down. You're going to write 20 generic scenarios. Very generic, open, like going for a walk, or making breakfast, or having a conversation, an argument, anything like that. Then, what you do is you come up with specific scenarios that relate to those generic scenarios. So, in little bullet points underneath each, I can talk, I promise. Underneath each generic scenario, you're going to put several, at least three specific scenarios. You can go as far as 20, I mean, if you want, which is really hard. I'm telling you now, it's really hard, but any number. So these scenarios have to be specific, such as this specific character goes on a walk with this specific character, or the main character has to go on a walk alone to figure things out, or something specific happens while on the walk with these specific characters, or, you know, just like specific. I don't know how many times I've said that word, but it's been a lot, and I'm sorry. And then, once you've come up with all of the bullet points, you number all of the generic scenarios 1 through 20, and then you number each of the specific scenarios for that generic scenario. So, you have generic scenario 1, you write, and you have 6 specific scenarios, you write 1 through 6. Generic scenario 2, you only have 3 specific scenarios, 1, 2, 3. And this will give you scenes to write. So first, you roll your 20-sided die, and that will tell you the generic scenario. Then, you roll the die that correlates to the number of specific scenarios. If it doesn't happen to be the exact same number as one of your dice, that's fine. Just anything that's extra, reroll. So, say you have 15 scenarios, specific scenarios, under the general one. Roll a 20-sided die. Anything between 16 and 20 is just a reroll. And 1 through 15 is what your specific scenario is. And then, you have everything in front of you. You know exactly what you're doing. You have what characters are there, you have what they're doing, and you have, like, no excuse to not write. uh, it can be a little hard to get started, but not nearly as hard as writing your novel. So basically, whatever the dice say, you have to write. It might go in your story, it might not, but the point is, it helps getting you motivated to write. And not only that, but if you're writing about a specific character, that's going to get you in the mindset of that character. And that's going to help you write that character so much more easily. Even if you already know everything about the character, just putting yourself back in their point of view is going to make it so much easier for you to get back to your novel and start from their point of view. I don't guarantee you, but I do suggest you do one of these because it really, really helps me. And hopefully it'll help you too. Now, I am going to put a link to the Google document that I have set up for my fantasy novel series, Cage, in the comment section below. It's gonna, have the list of 1 through 20 and then all of the subcategories, and you can use any of those scenarios yourself. You can tweak them as long as you download that and, make it your own. Feel free to download it. I don't care. But the point is, I want you guys to write, because I know I have a lot of trouble doing that. So, I hope you enjoyed my Ways to Block Writer's Block. And I will let you know that the next video that I'm going to do might take a while, because the problem is I'm going to be reading out loud my short story, and I'm not good at reading out loud. So it's gonna take a lot of editing. So be on the lookout for that. I will let you know on Twitter, Facebook, probably Tumblr, though I don't know really, because I don't use Tumblr very often. In person, if I know you, I will let you know that that video is coming up, when it's going to be uploaded. So, thank you all for watching. I really hope that you are inspired to write, and I hope you have a wonderful day.